Welcome back, Madventurers, to this week's episode of Cows Week. Last week saw us leave Ramsgate after having a nice chilled out time, heading past Dover. Check it out this week, Life of a Sailor and Mistakes Made. I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone that was on the lookout for me around the Dover area. I greatly appreciate all that. It should never have happened. Sadly, it's one of them things. And I'd also like to say to the National Coast Guard as well, I am doing the Great Manchester Run next year in May the 19th, and it's in aid of the RNLI. And it's times like that when you appreciate them being around. I appreciate it, they appreciate it, and for me this is a personal goal because I've never ran a run in my life, and I don't like running, as you've probably gathered, but I'm going to do this for myself, for them, and for everyone in the boating world. Just got to say though, might not be a lot of wind today, but it's gone from absolute drama, gale force 8, which is around 25 plus winds and sea state quite rough, to end up having search parties looking for me. And that's a story from earlier on if you've missed it. The story was that I was using an app on my phone that's recommended by the RYA, and the Coast Guard apparently is taking it on, but it's only as good as the phone is. If the signal's not there, it just cuts off. You can't stop it, and then it alerts your family. It's alright, but the trouble is when you know you're alright, your family doesn't know. They're not very experienced around the sailing, so it panics everyone. And lo and behold, I end up having a big multi-hull wind farm boat come and find me as I was passing, telling me I was lost at sea. Gutted. What I should have done at the time is contact the Coast Guard and just said, look, if my family gets in touch, let them know I'm okay, and I'll be in touch as soon as I get back to the coast and back in signal. But it's one of them lessons learned. At the time I was concentrating on it with quite, like I say, really rough seas at the time, so as you do, you're just concentrating on one thing at the time, and you're thinking, well, I might get back into signal shortly when I come back a bit closer to the coast. It shouldn't be too long, but the time in it were quite a long time, so lessons learned there. Contact the Coast Guard, that's what your radio's there for. Don't rely on phone apps, because they're unreliable and as good as a signal. But great, fantastic if people wanted to keep track of you up to a point. Yeah, can't fault it for that, but don't use it for emergencies. And the trouble I've got, because I've got an outboard motor as well, boats are very expensive. I've got the boat to a certain point. I'm not rich. I'm doing this as I can afford stuff. So that's my honesty there. And you can get a radio where you can fit a speaker here. And if I had that speaker, I'd be able to hear something on the radio at least. But once I've got the outboard motor on, the radio's inside the cabin, and you can't hear anything that's going on the radio. The handheld, the volume, it's only so loud, it's a handheld at the end of the day. They've all got bells and whistles on them. They're all DSC, which is hit a button, it sends an emergency signal to the Coast Guard, alerts them, gives them a GPS coordinate of where you were last at, and all being well, someone will come out and get there in time. And also there's things as well that you can get, personal locator beacons, which you can attach on here, and it just sits in there. If you fall in the water, as long as you're conscious, because that's another downside. If you're knocked out by, say, the boom cracks you on the head, game over. But sorry, ma'am, I've got to say to me ma'am, sorry ma'am, I worry her so much when I go out to sea. She wish I'd took up knitting. But yeah, these personal locator beacons, they sit in here, and you can click a button again, that sends a GPS signal to the Coast Guard, and again, they can come and find you. But yeah, it's all money. It's good fun, boats, I enjoy it. But you have got to have a bit of money. I just keep chucking money at it as I can afford it. But I'll get there next year. I'll have a little bit more to my collection. It's like I managed to find a life raft that I found on there. Thank you to Ben who sold it me. He knows who he is. Again, they can be £800 for one of them, which you need. Like I say, if you're going doing what I'm doing now, you're going offshore, handy to have on board. Just chuck them in the water, chuck your grab bag in with your water, your emergency supplies, and that. And hopefully again, you wait it out, someone will come and get you. But it can be a very dangerous place to sea. I would not recommend just buying a boat and going out there and sailing, especially if you've never done it before. It's one of them things, you've got to get some basics, even if it's up to a day skipper level like I have. It can go further than day skipper, it can go to coastal master, ocean master, and yacht master. Might have got them two the wrong way around, but they're all different levels of sailing. But day skipper gives you everything up until your navigation, basics behind navigation, tides, interpolacial tides, weather, basics behind the weather. Yeah, look it up. Me personally, I use the RYA courses, highly recommended around the world. I'm not doing this for the RYA, this is just something that I've gone through, and I found them fantastic. Different trainers, different ways of training. So if you find one trainer isn't for you, try a different company or ask to be with a different trainer. Everyone's got their own ways of teaching, so don't be disheartened if you're finding you're struggling with it. I struggle. I find I can be a bit of a slow learner, to put it lightly, but once it's in there and I've got the concept of everything, it's in there and I know what I'm doing then, or I hope I know what I'm doing. So yeah, no matter if you think you're thick, you're not thick. No one's thick. Everyone's differently intelligent to things. Some are good at making things, some are good at writing things. Different skill sets for different people, and that's how the boating world works as well. Different skill sets again. You can have crew, which will just do the lines, put the fenders out, keep the ship clean, things like that. Your captain has a wide range of information. The captain's aim is to sit back, relax, ask his crew member what the weather's going to be like, the navigator for where's best to travel, weather-wise, tide-wise, depth, and he takes all his varied information into concept and puts it all together, makes a decision on which way to go, who's doing what, set rotors. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot to it, but if you wanted to experience it, just go on these websites as well. You can go on crewing websites out there, and there's bigger boats. The bigger boats are brilliant, the big ones. These ones are a bit smaller, a bit more tippy, to put it in English. Yeah, the bigger boats are a bit more sturdier. You do feel it on the bigger boats, and it can be quite airy when you've never been on one, and you you're going through the water and they don't stay flat like a speedboat does. They tilt to the side. And my first experience with that was, I was doing my competent crew. And as I was doing my competent crew, I was on the helm and the boat tipped sideways, the wind's going some, and my heart's going do 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 do. My head's going, this isn't right. And then my trainer turned around to us all and said, cup of tea. That's when I knew it's like peace of mind. It's that confidence as well. As a captain, you've got to have that calm about you. It's a good nature to have calmness, and everyone else is calm, relaxed about you. They don't panic, because it sort of stirs up a thing inside everyone. They, oh, he's panicking, what do I do? And take it easy, take it steady. You're unsure about anything, you're not confident about doing anything, just take everything easy, take it slowly. If you have to crawl to the bow, crawl to the bow. But there's things around you, grab the strong points of the boat, and you've got things like this. I'm not wearing it at the minute because it's not really rough, but things like these you can clip on, going nowhere. Might fall over if I fall over that side, it's a long one. Yeah, things like this, sadly, they're not always 100%. They have been known to, this is a safety thing as well, it's slid down the jack line and pressure has gone onto this, and this has then bent, which, yeah, sadly there was a loss of life on a very big yacht race around the world, and he was a very experienced sailor. Excuse me, a very experienced sailor, but sadly it was one of them things, lessons learnt again in life. It's not always in advance, you can't learn in advance, you can only learn by mistakes. It's a sad world we live in, you can't predict the future, but you can make it as safe as you can. Take precautions, stay safe, and hopefully I might see you all out on the water. Enjoy the sailing. We go bottoms up. Catch us next time as we get closer to the Isle of Wight and go in search of the sleeping bear. Chained to what I know, drifter on the road, before you go guys, don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Things can only get better. Throw me in open water, let me have my peace, and leave me till tomorrow, wind into myself, away from things I let go, floating on the waves. Bottoms up.